Starting is now starting.
Now is it starting? Yes?
Yes, you're online.
Okay. So, first of all, thank you so much for being here and welcome everyone to the Women in Resistance online meeting as part of the International Poetry Film Festival of Thuringia. My name is Paloma Llambias. I am the curator of the Women in Resistance program. I am also a filmmaker. I identify as a woman filmmaker, and I am also from Chile, living in Weimar, Germany for already some years. We are going to be talking today with 4 of the 15 filmmakers that are taking part of the online program this year, the festival. That, of course, is just 4 of the 15 different worlds that were presented and topics, imaginaries. But I'm really glad to have you here so we can talk about the processes of your filmmaking, of your movies, of your writing process, and how did you connect to poetry film, and what are your motivations and intentions with your films. So I would like to start first listening to you guys, and so please, if you could start presenting yourself. Should I pick someone up?
Yeah.
Yes, let's start with Elena then.
Okay.
Yes.
Hi, thank you very much for inviting me. It's an honor and a pleasure. My name is Elena Sainz. I'm an actress, poet, and filmmaker, and I've been living in London for a few years, but now I'm back in Spain. I don't know what's going to happen. Like, who knows? Right? Yeah. And well, I've been an actress for more than 10 years now, but I started like writing my own short films and directing my short films and poetry films 4 years ago. And yeah. And well, yeah, it started with like a conventional short film, but then once I began doing this, like writing and directing my films, I went like kind of crazy free to video poetry as well. So I'm observing this pattern that every time I do a like a conventional short film with a script, like can you say like at the same, not at the same time, but maybe, yeah, kind of at the same time, and I'm doing a poetry film that goes like more freely, can you say that, like with not that attached to the rules, if you can say that.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think we can talk about it, about these differences between this normal script and the poetry script or poetry film script later. I think it's a good way to start.
Even though I call my short films poems because they are very poetic, but yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Who would like to continue now? Daryl? You were laughing.
I'm Daryl. I'm a writer, producer, and actor based in New York City. I also help run a female-led production company called CNT Productions. So we create a lot of content that is socially charged. And my piece is Black Girl Poem. It's a part of a larger spoken word series called Open that explores just various stories that are very linked to identity from underrepresented communities. And I think that's where a lot of my work stems from, just nuanced stories that uplift underrepresented stories. Underrepresented voices.
Mhm. Thank you so much. Katja, would you like to?
I just need to keep the cat in check because she's like running wild. But okay, actually there are 2 cats. Maybe they're gonna visit us here. Yeah, I'm Katja Sophia Ditzer, and I studied writing, but I don't write that much anymore. I'm focused more on interdisciplinary art in between literature, music, film, and performance. And so, yeah, I've been doing poetry films already since 2014, I think. Back then in collaboration, and since 2016 on my own. And yeah, I think, poetry films, they offer a lot of, possibility and potential to run, as Elena put it really nicely, to run completely free. And yeah, so I also love using my post-Soviet heritage in a way, like my family's from Russia, and actually work with that as well, because I mean, it is also something, the Russian tradition is a very rich one. And this is basically what I focus my work on at the moment. Yeah. Okay. Greetings to you from Berlin. And yeah, thanks for being here, like for letting me be here.
Thank you so much. Then Meike or Maike? Meike, yeah.
My name is Maike Redekamp. I'm a video artist, and I usually include or work with performative elements in my video. And this is the first time that I also use language directly. And I also often focus on the role of the camera and the political power of images and representation. Yeah.
Yeah. And is it your work part of a video installation? Ophelia?
It's a one-channel work, and I think of it as a one-channel work that could work in a screening, but also as an installation. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for your presentations. So soon we're gonna be watching and to all these different video portrait films, video portraits, portrait videos, however you would like to call them. I will now read a little text that I wrote for the program, so kind of like to understand what I was curating. This summer I was asked from the festival to curate this Woman in Resistance program, and I felt like, wow, like how I'm going to choose all these films, and I'm going to have to select them, and I have to kind of like at the same time kind of create a narrative with all these different films, with all these different points of view. And I was really excited about it, but I was also really nervous about it, of letting people out, and I would have liked to show everyone all those videos and to show all those different representations of these topics that are now so important. So, but I have to choose only 15 films, and yes, it was a really hard process, not only at the beginning, the whole way through. And I'm really happy with the program that came out afterwards. So I was trying I first decided to choose only films that were directed and were written by women. So that the whole production of most of the production was made by women, and okay, I'm losing my line. So I will read the program thing. So the Women in Resistance program demonstrate how much poetry, film, and video poetry are part of a global poetic activism. Hardly any other topic has had such a definite impact on this year's entry for the Poetry Film Prize as this one. A poetic act in a reality structured by hegemonic masculinity, I think, is a radical act of resistance. Women in Resistance consists of 15 poetry films written and directed by women who, in their aesthetics and thematic diversity, immerse us in sensibilities and gazes that explore the relationships of being a woman in and with the world. I think this explains a little bit better what I was trying to say. I am not so good at freestyling, I will say. So after this introduction, I would like us to watch the films so we can afterwards talk about them and reflect on them at the same time.
Okay.
No.
Mi corazón, la fuerza que impulsa el movimiento del mar, del universo.
Mi pecho es el océano lleno de estrellas. Mi corazón, la fuerza que impulsa el movimiento del mar, del universo. Mi pecho es el océano lleno de estrellas. Mi corazón, la fuerza que impulsa el movimiento del mar, del universo.
Mi pecho es el océano lleno de estrellas.
Mi pecho es el océano
Mi corazón,
lleno de estrellas.
la fuerza que impulsa el movimiento del mar, del universo.
Mi corazón, la fuerza que impulsa el movimiento del mar,
La fuerza que impulsa el
del universo.
del universo.
Mi pecho es el océano lleno de estrellas.
Mi pecho es el océano lleno de estrellas.
Mi corazón, la fuerza que impulsa el movimiento del mar, del universo.
Mi pecho es el océano lleno de estrellas. Mi corazón, la fuerza que impulsa el movimiento del mar, del universo.
Mi pecho es el océano lleno de estrellas.
Mi pecho es el océano lleno de estrellas.
Es el océano lleno de
Mi corazón, la fuerza que impulsa el movimiento del mar.
La fuerza que impulsa el movimiento del mar, del universo.
El océano lleno de estrellas. Mi corazón, la fuerza que impulsa el movimiento del mar, del universo.
Mi pecho es el océano lleno de estrellas. Mi corazón, la fuerza que impulsa el movimiento del mar, del universo.
Mi pecho es el océano lleno de estrellas.
Mi pecho es el océano lleno de estrellas.
Mi corazón, la fuerza que impulsa el movimiento del mar,
Mi corazón,
del universo.
la fuerza que impulsa el movimiento del mar, del universo.
Mi pecho de corazón. girl poem gotta be about a nigga?
Why every compliment I get gotta be about my figure?
My pursuit of sweet wisdom and how I like to read Rumi seems to be forgotten when you feed it from my booty.
Where's my smile?
I like the style.
I didn't ask for your opinion, and my ass sure as hell didn't ask for your dominion.
See, us women are creative. We got unlimited
To
ways.
shield or take cover from your unlimited gaze.
Sometimes silent headphones are our armor of the day. Other times we gotta hit them with the...
Sorry, I'm gay.
Or even...
I'm underage.
Or,
I'm taken.
oh, that's a classic.
And some of us got pepper spray in case things get too drastic.
If you fish for my discomfort with rotten bait trying to bone me.
When despite having daughters, you still call out like you own
You
me.
say you scared in the streets because the uniforms are midnight.
But why am I scared in the streets at midnight because of you?
But I still walk.
No, I march frontline screaming your life matters.
Cause I'll be damned if this country's glass ceiling be left unshattered.
You think I should be flattered?
Is it weird sometimes I am?
Should I feel bad either way?
Should I even give a damn?
And why are y'all still the root of why I'm feeling self-conflicted?
Self-inflicted.
Unpredicted the way that I'm self-addicted.
Does my skirt make me a flirt?
Is my top too crowded?
Maybe I'll rethink that cutout dress the next time I shop.
And maybe I'm way overthinking that last cat call.
And maybe I actually shouldn't be thinking at all.
It's exhausting, the time that it's costing. It's abusing, the energy I'm losing. Cause even tough skin, strong as steel, with wear and tear can start to rust and peel.
But despite your eyes like thieves trespass,
And your lips are culprit and your tongue harassing.
Remember, the next time I'm passing,
The God within my temple is everlasting.
so acknowledge me as you would a full moon,
from a distance.
accessorizing the sun's golden beam.
And if you a dog and you still howl at the moon, treat me as you would a star from one of your sports skins.
Cause I don't know you shit.
Not my
Or
smile.
even a glance.
Or let alone any chance for you to get in my pants.
See, this black girl poem ain't about bashing you.
You know the last thing we do is to help them pull the trigger.
If you're dying to approach me, at least come correct me.
And if I turn you down, just take the rejection respectfully.
Handle us with care.
Treat us with value, brother.
I am your lifeline, your lover,
your anchor,
your mother.
Alles, was ich berühre, wird zu Katzengold. Im Hinterhof reichere ich Plutonium für Rohrbomben an. Mein Parfum ist der Geruch brennenden Fleischs. Ich exportiere die Bausteine der Welt. Ich verhandle einen angemessenen Preis für meine Unsterblichkeit, präge mein Bildnis auf Schokomünzen. Keine Expedition wird je mein Gesicht im Sand ausgraben. Meine Heiratspolitik ist klug. Mein Reich ist erweitert. Ich bin die Alchemistin, die aus Soldatenblut Gold macht. Meine Scharfschützinnen sind postiert von meinem Drachenhort. Wenn sie fallen, rasiere ich ihre Haare ab und verkaufe sie an eine Perückenfabrik. Mein Zugang zu Ressourcen ist gesichert. Meine Ehre ist verteidigt. Niemand weiß, wie viel ich besitze. Ich erschaffe Tabus, generiere Mehrwert, Vernunft und Zeit.
Mit Sis sluggards ish. Luorsiv, diastua, swoom, nemov, revenev, sidop, awa, utni, netir, sluor, dniafidirb, raziv. Sledom, luor, liemif, röh, morf. Sröshtzeg, sröshtzeg, idob. Tnemvum, idob. Nishyen otni. Zdröv, zdröv. Slebelis. Stietimi. Lrög. No ilrö morf. Nemev rof. Ideleir. Nem rof. Ideleir. Miekib. Sjdemi rev. Nur siv for. Snishjet sefinem. Miekib. Sjdemi rev. Sluor. Ditje ir iev. Nemev dead for. Nemev sep for. Nemev dekien for. Nemev lufi tuib for. Nemev for. Sjdemi ditje ir nem ilnuor. Sirushtnes rof, rof. Centuries holy man created images of women, of beautiful women, of naked women, of passive women, of dead women. They created roles. Their images became manifestations of these roles. Their images became reality for man, reality for the woman. From early on, the girl imitates waste of body gestures, from her we made role models these are predefined roles created into our bodies whenever the woman moves outside this role. She struggles with the system that lives on this role.
Welcome back. Yay. Are you there? Can. Yes. Cool.
Yes.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for letting us showing your films in this conversation. We could now proceed maybe with Elena. The subtitles were not there. I couldn't see them. You neither, no, guys?
I just put the subtitles at the very beginning because it's the same sentence repeating over and over again. So yeah, I mean it's a good thing to know that if you got that in the first time, and if you don't speak Spanish, then you miss the whole thing. So yeah.
Could you read
it in the beginning? I read it in the beginning, and figured it was the same thing based on the caption.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I couldn't see it at the beginning because it was a little bit too slow. So I was like, oh no, it's a version without the subtitles. Yes. But good you could see it. So I decided to start with Elena's video poem because I thought it was, or it is, a metaphor for all these voices that are resisting as the ocean. It is there, repeating itself, creating all these rhythms in life. So I would like you to tell us more about the process of making this film, what this means to you.
Okay, well, it started with the poem itself, and then it developed into this. But I can't remember the moment that I wrote the poem, but I have a feeling that it was after like a deep meditation or something. Because and I'm sure like all the words that I would say now are not enough, so I'm probably more meaning to it that, you know, I'm sure that every person that watched this finds like different kind, not different, but you know, yeah, various meanings. And yeah, I don't know, I just had this poem like someone put it in me, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna write it. And yeah, I've always been fascinated by the ocean. I grew up by the ocean, so I guess that makes sense. and also like by the stars and all the astronomy things, and how we are like just a small spot in the whole universe, and how what's the force that keeps us moving. I'm really fascinated about that, and how is the same kind of the same force that keeps us moving. I'm like, okay, yeah, there are scientific reasons to explain how the heart propels like blood to all the body and everything, but what's the ultimate, like, what's life? And then in a way, I guess I related this blurred ideas, or these ideas, to how women are just naturally, biologically creators of the world. Like being mothers or not being mothers. I'm not a mother. I'm not an actual mother. I'm not an actual mother, but we have the possibility to carry, someone else's life. and that is like super powerful.
So this is the starting point of the film. I mean, this is why you choose only to work with woman voices?
Yes, I guess so. Yeah, and yeah, I just send the request to friends, and yeah, and these women, well, and a girl, one is my niece, they just wanted to, yeah, I wanna read these words aloud, and in a sense, I guess these words stop being only mine, but also theirs when they speak these words, because it's like it's not only me, Elena, it's my chest is full of stars, and my heart is the power of the universe, but it's like every person that says these. And yeah, I wanted to work only with women because I felt it that way. Is yeah.
Yes, for me,
I just want to. I read. I don't know if you women have read Lysistrata by the Greek classic Aristophanes. It's a classic Greek classic play, like from 400 before Christ or something like that, and it's this comedy where women in Greece, like from different places, they are at war for 20 years, and they got together to stop the war. And it's a comedy, and the way that they want to stop the war is by how do you say huelga? Strike of sex.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like we're not gonna have sex with you guys until you stop the war, and it's like full of like comedy and blah 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 blah. But at the deep core of the whole thing is like women coming together from different like places, coming together to stop the war. And I don't know, I think that's very powerful.
Yes, I really like it how these voices were kind of like activating the waves of the ocean, and at the same time the waves of the ocean are activating these voices. And I thought it was like a really nice metaphor for this process of creation, maybe. Yeah. We could call it that way, of creating something that is outside but also inside, and it's so hard sometimes to differentiate this outside from this inside, and it's kind of like flowing over and over again, as the ocean does. And the ocean sometimes is like calm, and sometimes it's just like a mess, a storm. And yes, I think it was a nice metaphor, and I really like it also because afterwards we have like a poem from Daryl that also uses 3 different voices, but in a completely different way. So I would like you to introduce us to your process and to your film.
Sure. I think, what Elena was saying about, the fact that we're all connected in a sort of way was one of the reasons why I used a chorus of 3 women. And I think that, for women in particular, specifically Black women in America, we have this weird dichotomy of fighting for our people, fighting for, Black lives, and especially when Black men get killed, through police brutality, yet we still feel afraid to walk at night in our own neighborhoods for fear that those same men might harm us or, harass us. And I think in Black American culture, sexual harassment of Black women, no matter how old you are, can be pushed under the rug or it can be neglected or undermined. And I wanted to really just raise awareness and accountability, holding the whole community accountable for this so that I guess it happens less. And I think that overall, it's a message that anyone can relate to, no matter what community you're a part of, if you're a woman living in this world.
For me, watching the film was also like this. I can completely relate to this, coming from where I come from Chile, from Latin America. And of course, in a different context and different story, but yes, it gives, I think, to do this with other women gives the energy to keep going out to the streets, to not feel afraid, or to at least try to feel less afraid. It took me years to not be completely afraid of walking, not only at night. And I'm still are, and at least as I could see it, I think this is a little bit outside of the 4 films that we're watching, but what happened with this political performance in Chile that kind of like viralized around the world, of all these women coming together and saying out loud, as you do in your film, this has to stop. You are the ones. It's a really important message. It's a really important thing. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for this.
Paloma, was it Chilean, that protest with that kind of famous song? It wasn't me. It was. Oh, yes. I can't remember. Sí,
Un violador en tu camino.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
A rapist in your way. Yes. Yes. So, yes, I think like it is really beautiful to see and really powerful to see how all these voices, as Elena did in her film, but also as Daryl does in her film, just are saying, let's stay together. Let's just say out loud together what we have to say, because this is the force that we have, that we are, a lot of us. Yeah. Does someone else want to ask Elena or Daryl anything? Meike or Katja?
Well, yeah, I just want to say I really loved how you created this kind of like concert of different voices. So yeah, it's great ideas you girls had.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I felt there was like a kind of, the humor in Daryl's work. Obviously, and I like how you combine such a serious topic with humor. and the way that you represented your performers. I mean, it feels almost like in the way that they say what they're saying. I almost felt like it feels so normal, and so what they're saying and how it's true what they're saying, that it's making actually fun of these others that she's addressing. I mean, do you agree, or I'm curious?
Me?
Yeah, because for example, they're almost staged a bit like in a commercial in the beginning, but then they are not really, they are not trying to promote themselves. They are just saying how others see them and how they don't want to be seen. And there's a humor for me in how they don't move and they're just talking and talking. They're also not passive, like usually in a commercial. And
yeah. I think that one of the purposes for having like the three women just be the chorus and the voice is to show a contrast between the three women who are kind of like I would say a metaphor as to what the one dancer wants to become. Someone who has kind of been able to rise above the oppression, whereas the dancer she is still in the struggle and still trying to work through finding her strength and finding her resilience. So I really wanted to just kind of contrast those two state of beings.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like both of your videos.
Thank you.
Then thank you so much. Now we continued afterwards with Katya's work. Yes, that I find also really interesting. The first time I watched it, I was like, what is she wearing? What is she doing? Okay, she's in the Brandenburg tour, isn't it? And with these passports, and she's kind of like saying, "You patriarchal world, this first world country with this politics, with this money, with all this that has." Kind of like just putting it in there and in a way that I never seen before. So I would like you to explain us a little bit more about the performance, about the video, about the text you wrote. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, I have to say that it was flavor-wise, the worst experience I ever had filming, because I really cannot recommend licking passports and putting banknotes in your mouth. Like, I even disinfected everything beforehand. I mean, this was like pre-corona, but it tasted so disgusting, like all of it. Like, I really don't do it. Don't do it. Yeah, apart from that, yeah, I wanted to play with, so it was filmed in Ukraine and in Germany, but it was like, yeah, it's supposed to deal with this idea of like migration as some sort of like privilege, as some sort of like entering a paradise, but also playing around, of course, with this, like with what passports and money actually offer and what kind of, what they actually mean and what they like this kind of use as pieces of paper, that they have like so much power and that we all have to, and although they're actually just symbols of things that really offer power. So that was basically the idea behind it, and also having some sort of performance in it. I mean, the film, like the part you were showing now, apparently it wasn't really buffered, right? So that's why I think not everything was visible. It was actually also supposed to be pretty psychedelic, like also offering this kind of prisms of flowers and of different plants, of tanks and all that, like to combine this kind of warlike imagery with beauty, with paradise in a way. And yeah, and so like the poem is of course the same. It's more or less it's kind of this kind of warlike but also brutal imagery that is also of course very feminine in a way. So yeah, that was the concept behind it. Thank
you. Does someone wants to add something? No? Yes.
Is there a reason you filmed it in the Ukraine?
Because I was there and I go there often. I also lived in Ukraine and studied at some point. I also have like projects going on about like political mythologies of the war and like what, like, because obviously Russia and Ukraine use like different kinds of political mythologies to justify like their narratives in a way. And so yeah, that's why I just go there very often, take interviews and everything. But it's also just a really interesting and brilliant country. I mean, definitely recommend for your next Euro trip if you're gonna come.
Yeah, I when I watched the video, I was like, I also wanna eat my passport straight away. And
no, don't do it, because it tastes disgusting. Like, don't do it. But I'm not sure. Maybe Chilean passports taste better.
No, I don't think so. They all taste nasty.
No, like I would try, but like I mean, you can do it now.
Yeah, but it is a powerful image to see this. I mean, how this differentiation between this first world and the rest of the world, so to say, and what does it mean to have this piece of paper, this little book full of stamps or not, also, and I don't know.
And it's like, you know, this kind of like passport privilege that is like not really, this differentiates, for example, people who like have some sort of like migration background or history, immigrate into first world countries and become kind of super privileged, as opposed to the people who are still at home in a way. And even whereas like with people who are then already born in Germany, like as it's the case with me, which of course applies to any first world country. So there's also this kind of like, you have to deal with like actually being super lucky, you know, and how do you justify this? How, like, because it's also, there's always some sort of like guilt in it, I think. I mean, you probably know it too if you,
Yes, I mean, there are of course many different reasons why people migrate, and in my case it was because I wanted to study it and I have the possibility to do it. So of course being and coming here placed me in a position of privilege in comparison to the others ones that cannot leave the country. People that are brilliant, many people who wants to go out but they can't. So of course this is a weird position to be, because you or I, as me only, I turned to be this person who could access university and all these privileges that in Germany are the normal thing. They're not privileges. And suddenly realizing here that I was not privileged anymore. So to deal with these two different kinds of identities, and of being from there but being here, and being here, it means that I'm more from there than before, because I have to identify myself the whole time. And that's why I think it is an important video to make. But at the same time, I was also curious about the video, about the dress and the it's not a bindi, no? It's something else.
I was actually trying to copy some sort of Russian, like Eastern Slavic hairdress, but like in a different way. And also just like putting like the dots that are also like you can find it in some costumes in a way, but they look different. But it's like it has nothing to do with bindi, of course.
Yes.
You know.
I was like, what are these dots? I didn't know what they were. Yes.
Oh, you know what they look like to me? Do you know when the sculptures make they have a model? They put like kind of dots to measure the whole thing. I thought it was related to that.
Okay, in future I'm gonna claim that, but it was like not my intention. Thank you. I'm gonna make it sound more intelligent.
Well,
yeah, and the dress is actually just a Berlin designer, kind of like a local designer who makes really nice dresses, like Bella Form. But it really looks a little bit Slavic too, so that's why I chose it. But good that you got the reference.
Yes, it reminds me of some like Marina Abramovich's work, where they wear this dress, and
really?
I mean the typical dresses. Yes, so I was like, I didn't know if it has like a more meaning to it or not. Yes.
But she usually has different dresses. Like she kind of works more kaftan style.
No, but it's a video that she has where people are performing. She's not performing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's the story of the Balkans. I cannot remember exactly the name of the video. No. Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna claim that too.
Yes. Well, and at last but not least, I decided to leave Maike's video for the end because I think it's a video that is thinking itself. It's thinking the image and the power of the gaze through art and in our society at the same time. So it was kind of like a conclusion of all this. To say, to all the videos of the program, or to all these 4 videos that we were watching, taking this video poetry to a completely different place, maybe visually and narratively. So it will be nice to know a little bit more of your work. Yes.
Yeah. So I think the idea for the work came when I was doing a research on the fetish of female corpses in fashion photography, because oftentimes I saw like women who they look like they're dead, but they wear the most expensive dress, and then it has a logo, you know, in the corner. And I was doing research on this. And I also came across this painting of John Everett Millais, Ophelia, which I'm referencing with my film, but also many photographers or fashion photographers reference this kind of image with the dead women. And for me, it was like an exaggeration of the male eye and the female object. So that's why I found this image interesting. And yeah, the idea with talking backwards. I don't know, in the beginning it was a different idea, but then I realized that this kind of could fit together. And yeah, so I learned the whole text by heart, backwards. So when I learned it and also when I recited it, it was abstract to me. I didn't know what it would mean. And while I'm talking, I'm also talking about how when we grow up, we learn the syllables and the words from our parents. We learn this language, and yet we don't know what are the social roles that come with what we are learning and how we are going to talk, and like with these social aspects that come with the language that we pick up, or with the role that we are automatically put in. Yeah, I think that's how these ideas grew together.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the first time I watched it, I didn't saw first this message you have for the festivals. So I just watched like you talking backwards, and I was like, oh, okay, wow. And suddenly like the whole thing will just start flowing in the opposite direction, and I could understand what you were saying, and I was like, wow, this is, I found it so beautiful, such like a, one could say, of course it's not simple, but such a simple gesture somehow makes this film to have so much meaning, and so it turns to be so powerful somehow. And I was really impressed by these articulations of the language, as you said, like from this abstraction to these words that mean so many things, much more than that what they actually just mean. Yes. Yeah. I don't know where I read this or how did they know this, but I was reading the Ophelia, the painting was one of the most represented paintings of the history of art.
Oh, really?
So yes. So it's really amazing how like a painting just keep catching the eye of all these generations of artists, and how this is also an icon of this woman that at the end kills herself, no? Or it's being killed.
I think in like Hamlet doesn't exactly say it.
Ophelia.
But
Is it? Oh, no, Hamlet. Sorry.
I mean, sorry, Shakespeare doesn't say it, and it's part of, she's appearing in Hamlet, but she's, I think she's suffering from and going crazy because she's totally controlled by other male figures in the play. She can't do her own decisions. So I think that's why I thought this painting suits this idea.
Yes, and I think it's also nice that you enter the frame and you also leave the frame. So you give Ophelia this opportunity to get in the water and to get out of the water, to say like, okay, I'm not dead. I will just get out of this.
Yeah.
Of this square, yes, and I will keep living somewhere else. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I also found it interesting that these images of dead women, actually it's such an old image, like the whole history of painting is full of, you know, dead women, naked women, mute women.
Yeah. So giving it a voice to the dead Ophelia. Yes.
But you're actually really sorry. Can I say something?
Yeah,
Or-
of course, please.
Yeah, no, because actually you're like so right about it. Like there's so many images of like dead women in a way, passive women, naked, naked of course. But the interesting thing is that rarely is it women in the moment of killing. Have you noticed? Because it's still about like having a passive gaze in a way, like I have a passive image of an already dead object. But it is kind of not fashionable to depict the actual process of the subject becoming an object, because it maybe would like still humanize the object in a way. And that's interesting too. But like,
now that you say that, I remember I've seen like paintings of like martyrs, but mostly is it San Sebastian? That is like male, like in the action of being killed.
Yeah, but it's not women. Yeah.
You mean in the history of art? Yes.
But although it's sometimes even reversed in a way, I mean, a very common top like theme or motive is also Judith killing Holofernes and beheading him, or Salome as well with like John the Baptist. So that's that happens.
Well, yes. I think that's a hard topic too. It's a hard way of kind of like finishing this topic, this conversation about the movies. But I would like to. Would someone else like to add something to make us feel?
I really like the how all the films were connected, like in a way, like no, it was like, oh yeah, it makes sense, yeah, that's this next thing, yeah, and then yeah.
I
good,
think
good work.
We had a really good curator. But another like praise to Micah. How long did you lie in the in the river? I mean, it's so cold.
Yeah, it looked like.
Each time it was about 4 minutes.
Okay.
But underneath the dress, I also wore a neoprene suit.
You're smart. Cheater. This is cheating.
That's it.
And yeah, I think we recorded it like around 18 times over 3 days.
Wow.
Because each time I had to get dry and come back, and then so that I could pick the best possible. I mean,
wow.
I personally loved seeing it. I feel like I could just tell there was more agency for the woman, particularly in this Ophelia video, because I think with a lot of Shakespeare's texts in general, the female characters aren't necessarily fleshed out. And I feel like seeing you as Ophelia and seeing Ophelia not die, but actually get out of the water instead, was resistance within itself and kind of just taking that agency back. And yeah, I liked seeing this take.
Yes. So I think it's really nice to see how all of you guys are resisting with such different gazes, we could say. Can I say gazes? Yes. And so many different ways of representing what is around you and the context what you belong to, and this means 4 completely different kinds of videos that are there, but at the same time they belong together in this program, because it's about this woman resisting all these power structures, all these gazes, all this day-to-day life, all these fears, all the things we want to create, and putting themselves there in front of the camera with the text and directing. And I think this is such a powerful thing, and I'm so grateful for it. So I wanted to say thank you for for this. Yes.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I think we don't have to cut right away. I still wanted to know your opinion about how you feel you were resisting in these films, even though we already watched the films and maybe it is kind of clear. But if you would like to add something else, it will be really nice, and feel free to do it before the ending of this conversation. Katja?
To the watchers who didn't buy tickets yet, go and buy tickets. The festival is amazing.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Well, so I guess we will slowly say goodbye
Yes.
to this online meeting. And well, thank you again.
Thank you.
Keep creating. Keep doing amazing videos, and hopefully let's see each other again sometime.
Bye.
Bye.
We are not online anymore, I think. Yes.
Bye.
Bye.